It's a special event to promote a particular type of river trout known as the sonchono. How to package it, how to prepare it, in every way imaginable. And staged in a town that finds it has a lot of it, 77 tons to be exact. HWACHEON County's annual ice festival is its biggest event, and ice fishing on the frozen river the biggest draw, for which it starts breeding fish a year in advance. But this year there's to be no festival, and the town is left to figure out what to do with its fish.
We have been putting our heads together to research and develop ways that we can sell our fish, and this is the result. We are taking a crisis situation and turning it into an opportunity.
Realizing months ago the festival was unlikely to go ahead, the county did cancel more than half the fish it had ordered from farms across the country.
If we had a regular festival, they would have made money on all that fish. So I expect they took a considerable hit this year.
The town itself is hurting too. The harsh winter in these mountains normally produces ice that is solid enough to support crowds of visitors, and beneath it, pristine waters that can sustain masses of fish. But this year, no sign of any festival. Close to the border with North Korea, the town was already suffering from a ban on military personnel leaving nearby bases during the pandemic. And restaurant owners like Lee Jung-soon were counting on an influx of ice festival visitors who won't now be coming.
It's been difficult for everyone, small businesses and employees. No one has been spared. It's also hurting the other towns around here who supply us with produce.
Everyone here is hoping that by the time the ice breaks up and melts away, they'll also be seeing an end to the pandemic. Rob McBride, Al Jazeera, Hwachon County, South Korea.
Zimbabwe has gone into its second national lockdown. Only places like hospitals, pharmacies and supermarkets will be allowed to open for the next 30 days, and then overnight curfews in force. There's been a huge spike in infections over the holiday season in a country already struggling with a deepening economic crisis, soaring inflation and high unemployment. The UK's had yet another record jump in new infections, announcing more than 57,000 on Saturday. Many are being attributed to what scientists say is a more contagious strain of COVID-19 that's particularly rampant in London. It's adding to the urgency of vaccine rollouts. Hospitals have been getting their first doses of the one developed by Oxford University and AstraZeneca. It's the second to be approved, along with Pfizer-BioNTech. The British government says it'll allow mixing of different vaccinations if supplies are short, as well as delays between doses. Police in northwestern France have shut down an illegal New Year's Eve rave 36 hours after it started. About 2,500 people attended, close to the city of Rennes. Police arrested 7 people, including the suspected organisers, for breaking COVID-19 restrictions. Rescuers in Norway are searching for 6 more people, including children, 4 days after a village was buried in a landslide. At least 4 people died. A hillside collapsed over the village of Ask, 25 kilometres northeast of the capital, Oslo. Only helicopter rescue operations are possible because the ground is still unstable. More than 1,000 people have been moved from their homes. At least 3 people have been killed after a small plane crashed into a house in the US state of Michigan. Police believe the pilot and the 2 passengers on board lost their lives. No one died in the house. It's not yet known what caused the crash. The incident happened near the city of Detroit. Argentina's Ibera wetlands are one of the most biodiverse regions in the world, but over the last few decades, they've been severely impacted by industrial farming. Conservation groups are now working to reverse that damage. Teresa reports now from Ibera National Park in Corrientes.
Ibera means, in the local indigenous Guarani language, water that shines. And here in the province of Corrientes, in northeastern Argentina, there is plenty of it. But in the past few decades, the wildlife in the Ibera National Park, that covers more than 1 million hectares of land, began disappearing because of human activity. And that's what people like Magali Longo are trying to change.
We are working to rewild Argentina. This means reintroducing crucial species that disappeared from the ecosystem. In this case, we're working with the jaguars. The main objective is to generate a sustainable population.
These jaguars, Nahuel and Isis, are kept here so their cubs can one day repopulate the area.
Jaguars are seen as a threat to agricultural settlements in the area, and that's why their numbers have plummeted in this past years. In fact, in the province of Corrientes, they have been extinct for over 70 years now, and that's why projects like this one are crucial to reintroduce this kind of species into the ecosystem.
But there are 7 other jaguars who have almost no contact with humans and are ready to be released. They are kept in 30-hectare corrals. It's extremely difficult to see them. But during our stay, one of them, Mariwa, needed a GPS collar changed.
Mariwa is going to be set free. This is likely the last contact we will have with her. So we are taking all the possible samples that tell us how she is and the environment in the area.
The project is part of Rewilding Argentina. More than 20 years ago, American philanthropist Douglas Tompkins and his wife Kristen began buying up land in Argentina and Chile to protect it, and then donate it to a national park. Rewilding Argentina has now given thousands of hectares of land to at least 6 national parks.
It's very strange in Argentina that a private owner donates to the state. But when we do it, all the prejudices crumble. We start to see the projects because the animals start to appear, like the giant anteater, the pampas deer. The tourists start to come, and communities get involved. This is a model of producing nature, because it leaves resources to communities. It's an economic alternative.
The Rewilding Foundation says it's about helping nature heal, and local species are crucial to that process. The giant anteater bear had disappeared from Ibera mainly because of hunting. But thanks to rewilding, the bears they brought here have started to reproduce. It is here where we found Merceditas and her cub. Pablo Cabrera was born in the region and says attitudes in this rural area are slowly changing.
There's lots of people that have never been here. They did not know that Ibera was a natural reserve. Sometimes I get messages when they let me know they saw a bear. They are starting to become aware that it's not okay to hunt here.
Argentina has tough economic problems to deal with, and that's not being helped by the coronavirus pandemic, which is why preserving nature is a major challenge. But it's not just about protecting the wildlife. It's the wildlife that could generate alternative work opportunities that could convince locals to protect the natural wealth they already have. Teresa, Al Jazeera, Corrientes, Argentina.